You're going to get a good feedback on because you're going to represent it exactly how it is. All right, so today I thought I would show you a little bit behind the scenes of a curating life. Now, everybody gets to see most of the YouTubers going in and shopping and finding treasures, and that thrill of the hunt is for sure my favorite thing. But there's also a whole lot that goes on after you bring those things home. And you know, in the past, I have let that build up before I did what I'm going to talk about today, and that is processing the items. It's fun to go find them, and it's even more fun when you come home and then you unpack them and it's like Christmas Day. You forget what you got and you're like, oh yeah, that was so cool. So that's what we're going to talk about today, is just what it's like to do the full curating life. When purchasing something has to do with how much it's going to take to process it. And one part of processing any item that you find is you got to clean it. So, you know, really you might be looking for things like, again, these are just the most adorable little vintage salt and pepper shakers. And all they needed was just a good wipe down. And all this is I put a little bit of Dawn dishwasher soap in this little cute bowl that also needed washed, and then I'm just using it to you know, wipe everything else down. And just a quick wash, and then we'll rinse these off and they'll be ready to go. So we'll take this guy for example. Now this is a beautiful heavy brass piece. It's got a lot of patina on it, and all I'm going to do is the same. I'm just going to use the same rag. I do not take off the patina. If somebody that purchases it wants to you know, shine it up back to its original look, then that's great. But all I'm going to do is again give it a nice wipe down just to get off any dirt, grime, germs, that kind of thing, and then it is ready to go. Same with these guys, just a nice little. Now if this had these feel very empty to me. If this had salt and pepper in it or anything, I would also clean that out. And here's another example of, you know, a brass piece that has just some amazing patina, and it's got a couple little sticky spots like right here, but overall it just needs a nice wipe down, and then it's gonna be good to go. You know, if I come across anything with stickers, I like to use Goo Gone. You can also use like lemon oil, but just a tiny little bit of this, let it sit for a few minutes, and it's good to go. This is actually vinegar in here. Got it labeled vinegar, and that's really great for like this piece. Is looking pretty good. It actually still has a little bit of staining around the rim, so I might try to apply a little bit more, but it was quite water stained, and vinegar is good for that. Put it in there and kind of let it soak for a while, so I might work a little more on this. However, this cute little guy, what I'm going to do with it is I'm going to fill it with foam, and I'm going to put a faux succulent in there, and then some pretty moss on the top, and it'll make just a sweet little gift for a new mommy. Would look so pretty in a little nursery. It does have this little hole that I believe probably at one point was for a ribbon. You know what I was thinking would actually be really cute there too is even to tie a balloon to it. So I'm not going to do anything with that. That will be for the purchaser to decide what they want to put in there. So vinegar is great for water stains. And then I also bought this. Now this is a Murphy's cleaning spray specifically for wood products. So I'm gonna put this guy to the side, and we'll take out our little dish. And I have these two beautiful hand carved pieces. There's this one, this guy, little Don Quixote here, and we're just gonna, I just spray it all over it because they are very dusty. And it's got a nice kind of citrusy scent, so, you know. And yes, I probably should wear gloves. It's just one of those things I don't necessarily think about. But anyway, and then just, you know, it's just a nice, easy wipe. And it just takes off all the dirt, kind of gives it nice little replenishing. And then I give it a good cleaning. I'm going to let it dry completely. And then I'll come back with just a little bit of this Howard's Feed and Wax, which is really great for just reconditioning. It's got orange oil in it. It smells really yummy. And so that's what I'll do with these once they are dry, just to really nourish the wood. And it just makes such an amazing difference. I'll show you a picture when they're all done. But again, this little wood wash is so nice, and highly recommend it for your wood pieces. I mean, it already looks amazing. And you know, this may not even need Howard, so we'll just kind of see. Like I said, if it dries and it still looks this shiny and nourished and good, then we'll just go ahead and leave it. If not, this does have just a little chip of wood off of it, but that doesn't bother me at all, and hopefully it won't bother anyone that is looking for a sculptural piece like this. But if, like I said, if it dries and looks nourished, then we won't add it, but most likely it will need a little bit. And then, so this has dried and it looks pretty good. I'm still going to go ahead and put some of this Feed and Wax on it just to seal it and keep it nice. I'm just going to use a little paper towel, and it's kind of good to shake this up a little, get it down there, and then it doesn't really take very much. So I'm just going to, let's get her open. Oh, there we go. Oh, but you know, about the size of a quarter amount for this particular piece. And I just kind of start anywhere and just rub it around. Make sure you get it in all the crevices. You can just see again how it just gives it such a brilliant look, such a beautiful way to bring back a piece, a carved piece like this, front and back. I wonder if this was a set of these, like a bookend, and I just have the Don Quixote side. Maybe there's a windmill side. I don't know, but regardless, it stands alone as just a beautiful piece. Again, get down inside those crevices. Look at how beautiful that is. We're just gonna, again, set it aside. We'll work on the other one. Now here's a piece that is a tray, and the front part of it is in absolutely perfect condition, but as you can see, it has been well used and has started to rust. So what I do is just spray a little bit of the Clorox cleaner bleach. This is what I use to clean just about every piece, just a basic clean, just to sanitize. But I'll put that on and let it set, and what it'll do is it'll give it a nice clean and clean any of the surface rust and lighten the color. And of course, when I go to list this item, of course I will take pictures of the back and indicate that. Now, I could also take the next step, which I may do, and just put a clear sealer over it, just a spray. You know, that's again another thing to think about when you're purchasing something. Is it worth the extra effort, the extra materials? What kind of money are you going to be able to get out of it? But in this case, I'll go ahead and flip it so I can show you how pretty this piece is. You can see I got it for $2.99 at Goodwill. But isn't that just lovely? Look at birds. Birds are very, let's get it this way, are very popular, very trending. And what I also love about this is just the coloring is so perfect for this time of year. So I'm gonna get this cleaned up and I'm gonna post it today as a beautiful fall serving tray piece. There's not a single scratch, blemish. Well, there might be a little scratch, but things that you can't really see. And I'm gonna list this. And of course, don't forget to add a magic eraser to your arsenal. I love these ones. They've got like a little bit more on one side. And we're gonna come over here and you can see that the base tray already looks better just with the bleach. And then they can use these. See how there's the, you know, and some of this is, yes, gonna be, you know, scraped off and won't come off. But anywhere that there's a black mark, just is a nice way to give it a nice clean surface. This looks like so much better. I mean, yes, it is still rusted, but it is much less rusted looking. And I know for myself personally, again, these kinds of things don't bother me. This is a beautiful decorative plate. It isn't metal, and I know that some people might take it also and paint the bottom, and I will leave that to the purchaser. That we pick up a lot are glass, and again, same thing. These honestly just need a little wipe down. I just use, again, just Dawn soap and water. This does have a transfer on it that says Venezuela. There's actually, each one has a slightly different picture on there. So I try not to soak those things. I just would prefer. And now this is actual red glass, but sometimes, you know, you might, if you get fooled and then you end up picking up something, or you just think it's beautiful, that has the flashed glass, which has basically been stained, had something put on it, but it's actually clear glass with that on there. This you can see is actually a red piece of glass, excuse me, and it's been attached to this clear base. So again, I don't want to soak these. I don't want to damage any of the decor on it. So just a simple wipe and rinse. And these are ready to be pictured. So, you know, cleaning is always the first thing you got to do. And then, you know, oh, don't forget to take your stickers off. It's another part of the processing. Now this has a very old, you know, and I could remove it, but it's very, I don't know, I might, because it's mostly come off. So these are the kinds of things you got to decide. It does have glue and things, but I think for this, I'm just going to go ahead and get a good soaking of the Goo Gone. And so of course, again, if you have anything with paint, Goof Off is good for that. And we're just gonna let this guy sit and soak, and then I'll come back and clean the rest of that off. But after you've got everything cleaned and ready to go, you gotta weigh and measure it. So another great thing to have in your arsenal, and this is nice, and it wasn't very much money. I'll put a link to it in the description. This one's called Accutech. It's just a nice little scale. The majority of what I purchase are the sizes I just showed you of things, and that's also something to take into consideration, because the bigger something gets, the more expensive it's going to be, and the more it's going to cost you in packing materials and cost the buyer if you're selling like on eBay. Now on my personal website, I sell things, I actually cover the shipping, so I kind of factor that into. Having one of these is perfect, especially when you got a little guy like this. Look at him, he's over a pound. So always make sure you got a decent scale. And again, this one wasn't very expensive. I think it was in the $20 range. You're going to want a decent tape measure. It doesn't have to be this huge. I usually use I have a little round green one, but I think it got packed at one point. So, but having a tape measure, because, you know, it's really important to be able to put in your description the dimensions, because sometimes, you know, you can take a picture and you're close up and it can look like it's, you know, 3 feet tall. In reality, it's, you know, what, 6 inches? Let's see how big this guy is. Yeah. Oh, she is 7 inches tall. You know, you want to put your length and your depth. So that is it. And then of course, taking pictures. You are listing on eBay. You want to have really good photos, with a white background if you can, or if it is a white object, then you want to go with maybe a darker background. But good, clean, sharp pictures is key to the sale. I hope that you found this helpful as a reseller to learn some tips and tricks about taking care of your items, as well as what you need to have in order to successfully prepare them and weigh them and measure them. It's all really key to having a good sale, and having a sale that you're going to get a good feedback on, because you're going to represent it exactly how it is. And one thing you may not know that you might have noticed is I am actually living in a very small motorhome right now. But I do have a nice size sink, some counter space, obviously water. So don't think that you can't be a reseller because you live in a small space. Now, I will say that storing the items is a different story. I do have a storage unit not too far from me, and that's where I put my items after I have processed them. And I also make sure that I put them into labeled bins so that it's really easy to find them when I do make a sale. So those are just some tips for you. If you like this kind of content, go ahead and give me a thumbs up and share it out to somebody else who might want to learn more about the curating life.